95.9 The Zone ESPN. This segment's brought to you by Mack Hike Ford, I-55 North in Jackson. Unbelievable selection of pre-owned and new vehicles. I mean, obviously all the Ford makes and models, right? The Ford F-150 truck, the Ford Bronco, the Ford Explorer, and so on. But don't forget that Justin Waite with Mack Hike Ford will buy your car. And he'll come to you. You're at work, you're a nurse, you're an attorney, you're whatever, you can't leave. He will come to your office, your manufacturing facility, wherever. He'll go check out the car and give you a price. Justin Waite will buy your car this week. Mack Hike Ford, I-55 North in Jackson. Call Justin Waite today. That's W-A-I-T-E. Justin Waite with Mack Hike Ford. We welcome in Steve Robertson. Steve, do you expect Coleman Hutzler to be the defensive coordinator this weekend against UMass?
Yes, I do. And I think, what we saw Saturday was completely unacceptable. And there's a part of me, I think, maybe, looking back, maybe State maybe had a game like this coming. And that's, you think maybe you'd graduated from that. You go on the road and play so well at Texas, and you play so well at Georgia. I say play so well. I mean, just an improvement on what you had earlier in the year. And you probably feel like you should have beat Texas A&M. You get a vulnerable Arkansas team that comes in here and they put up 58 points on you. And so it's a real gut punch. And but I think Jeff Lebby will take the full season and look at the totality of things, and he will make a decision at the end of the year. But I know, I can assure you that there is no one in the Mississippi State fan base that is in support right now of what's happening on the defensive side of the football. And those voices are getting louder and louder by the moment.
All right. So did you think that they would bottom out like this, the football program?
No. And, we knew it was going to be a challenging season, right? I mean, we knew that at the beginning. We're thinking, a 6-6 is probably best case scenario for this team. Maybe it's 5-7. And of course, neither of those are a possibility. I guess theoretically you could, but, let's just be honest about it. I mean, this team's not going to win out, but it's not just the defense. I mean, like when you look back on Saturday, and one of the most frustrating parts for me is you have 4 consecutive drives, you get in the red zone, and you come away with 3 points. You can't win,
no doubt,
against winning teams in the Southeastern Conference when you don't cash in those drives. And, one of the things that I go back to is like, and we're Monday morning quarterbacking this, and that's our jobs, right? But first and goal at the 2, and I think if you polled the Mississippi State fan base, whatever, the 40, 45,000 people that were there on Saturday, you polled them and said, hey, who runs the football the hardest for Mississippi State? I would say 90% of those people would say Johnny Daniels. And then it's first and goal from the 2, and you have 4 plays, and Johnny Daniels doesn't get a touch. I don't know if Johnny was banged up. I don't know if Johnny needed a bathroom break or whatever. But so I don't know all the details. But that's disappointing to me that the guy that is probably best in short yardage doesn't get to touch football on one of the biggest drives of the game from just 2 yards out of the goal line. That's one of those things I go back at. And so when people say, "Oh, Steve, it's a talent deficiency issue,"
that's got
nothing to do with talent. That's got nothing to do with talent.
Yeah. I could not agree more. Steve Robertson, genespage.com, 247 Sports. His board was on fire over the weekend. The Boneyard Podcast. He joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. Somebody mentioned that asked Steve the reason why he's not getting fired is they don't have the buyout. I don't believe that at all. Do you believe that, Steve? That's nonsense. 3 million, 2 million, 3 million, whatever it is. What is it?
I mean, come on. I mean, and what I think it's just $2 million. Now, we were talking about this yesterday, and I think it's actually, I think he has 2 more years left on the deal. But no, that's not. No, we're not going to be held hostage by that. I mean, if Jeff Lebby wants to make a move here, the money will be allocated to do so. It's not a situation, and that's one thing. So Mississippi State folks have got to move on from this poverty program mindset.
My God.
We've got to. we got to sit here and stick with people that aren't doing a good job because we don't have the money to buy them out. I mean, there are sometimes that, we don't fire people because what you're hearing's wrong. You know what I'm saying? Because like all of a sudden, John Q. Bulldog gets on a message board, hey, here's what I heard from a friend, and it's really just something that somebody made up, and it's wishful thinking. And then they're like, well, I don't understand why this hadn't happened yet. Well, it's because it was only a reality in your mind. I mean, we went through this with baseball the last 2 years. I mean, it's like all of a sudden these sources, everybody has a source until there's something to know, and so, here we are now, and, some people put some things on Facebook and it spreads like wildfire because that's what people want to happen. They want to see a change defensively. And at the end of the day, people put so much of an emotional investment in this, right? And so,
and financial.
Exactly. But then you're not getting the return on that, and it hurts. People just want the pain to stop, right? And so it's like when these things happen, it's like, well, all I know is this guy's responsible for the defense, and the defense is playing poorly, so we got to make a change. And a lot of times those people are right, that the change needs to be made. But ultimately, that's going to be Jeff Lebby's decision. I have not lost faith in Jeff Lebby. I know there's some people after the weekend. It's like all the goodwill that had been built up over the previous 3 weeks has kind of been erased. I think you got to avoid being a prisoner at the moment. I do think Jeff Lebby is going to do a great job here at Mississippi State. But this year, obviously, has not gone, even with meager expectations. State has not been able to realize the potential that they had this year.
Steve Robertson on the Out of Bounds show. They need a win, but they need to win comfortably this weekend. Is that how you see it?
Well, I'm just going to be happy to win a ball game. But yeah, I agree. I mean, you can't go out there and win 10-3. Saying you need to go out there and look like you know what you're doing. And I think that's one of the things you look back at last weekend. It's like, there's just so many things. And again, the defense bears the brunt of it because that's been the issue most of the year, right, is defense. But there's been some other games out there when the offense has not been there. And, there's going to be some up and down with the young quarterback. I mean, that's just life and times in college football. But I thought Mike played good at times, but I thought he had kind of some freshman moments for the first time.
He held the ball too long, and that's easy for me to say because, like you said, he's a freshman and he's playing too early. But he held the ball too long all afternoon, Steve.
He did, and there were a couple times, too, that, he tried to force it in there when he didn't. But that's a guy trying to make a play for his team. You know what I'm saying? And
absolutely.
And he will be better for this experience. And listen, it sucks right now. It does. It's painful. And, I got some friends out there that said, I'm not watching any college football because I don't want to see our score come across on the ticker at the bottom of the screen.
Oh, dude, it's too much fun. I can't give up college football. I love it too much. I love watching the games.
I couldn't wait to get home and watch that LSU Texas
Me neither.
game. I couldn't wait. I thought, this may be a game that determines who's going to play in the SEC championship game. And then, what can you say about Mike Elko in that group? I mean, I really thought, I wasn't sure how good they could be or would be this year. I said, they're probably at least an 8-4 team, maybe 9-3. And you look at them now and like, man, these guys may be the number one seed in the playoffs when it's all said and done. I mean, it's crazy. They control their own destiny.
Yeah, no, he's a hell of a football coach. And it was funny, the shot that he took at Jimbo Fisher Saturday night too. All right, we may do another hit later in the week. Steve Robertson, genespage.com, 247 Sports, and the Boneyard Podcast. Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it.
See you, friend.
All right. That was brought to you by our friends at Louva Wine Room in Starkville, which is amazing. Had so much fun there Thursday. It's brought to you by two brothers and their new sister restaurant, Older Brother, both in the Cotton District, not but 10 yards away from each other. And it's brought to you by Spring Street Cigars, either the nicest or one of the nicest cigar shops and lounges in the Southeast. We're going to have some fun on the other side. I've got some audio for you that you're going to love.